Coming to you from the beautiful University of South Florida campus in Tampa, it's USF Housing Live!
Welcome, everyone. This is USF Housing Live. I'm your host, Julia O'Hara, with USF Housing and Residential Education. I'm coming to you live from the beautiful University of South Florida in Tampa, Florida. Housing and Residential Education is here to answer your questions as you prepare for your USF experience. If you're joining us live, type your questions in the comments and we will answer you on the show. Tonight's episode is all about getting involved on campus. This evening we'll be speaking with the Dean of Students and then the Director for the Center for Student Involvement. So without further ado, let's jump into our first interview. Our first guest this evening is the Associate Vice President for Community Development and Student Engagement and the Dean of Students at USF, Dr. Danielle McDonald. Hi, Dean McDonald. How are you this evening?
Hi, I'm doing so great. I am in the Marshall Center, and it's a little lonely, missing our students, definitely, but excited to see all the changes that are coming to campus and getting ready for fall.
Absolutely. Same here. All right, so let's jump into some questions. Speaking of fall, can you tell us about who you are and what you do here at USF?
Absolutely. So I am so honored to be the Dean of Students and to lead a group of 10 different departments that all focus on building community within USF and engaging students in that community. I've been here for about 9 years now, transplanted from Atlanta, Georgia, and I love Tampa and I love the work that I do. It takes me I get to be with students a lot and get to see them progress through USF from orientation. Some of you may recognize my face from your welcomes at orientation, all the way through graduation and then alumni and beyond. So it's a great job. USF is a great place to be.
I agree. Thank you for that. So you said that you have 10 different departments that are under your leadership. Can you talk a little bit about what they are and what their goals are?
Sure. So the 10 different departments, I will try to list them all out, are Student Accessibility Services, our Student Government Advising and Training Office, our Student Conduct, the Center for Leadership and Civic Engagement, the Office of Multicultural Affairs, the Center for Student Involvement, who you'll hear from later this evening, our Residence Education Office, our Oracle newspaper, the Dean of Students Office, and then the Marshall Student Center. And so all of these great departments work closely together to help students find belonging, find purpose, and develop a lifelong connection to the university in an environment that promotes inclusion, safety, personal and academic success, and the development of lifelong skills. So in essence, what we try to do is make this big university feel like a small supportive community that students are proud to be a part of.
Great. And so, you listed off some of the goals of these departments, and can you give some specific examples of how these departments achieve those goals?
Yes, absolutely. So our departments do those in many different ways. They provide events that help students connect to the university, connect to each other, be a part of a tradition and community. They do a lot of advising of student organizations, student leaders, and individual students. We offer a lot of different training for students to develop different skills. It might be in leadership. It might be in creating inclusive environments, learning more about other people and identities. We also provide crisis and student concerns, crisis management and resource. And then we are a large employer on campus, and our employment opportunities really help students not only engage and get paid for it, but be a part of giving back to the community through their service in their jobs.
Wonderful. And how can a student go about getting engaged with these departments? And on top of that, what are the benefits of being engaged?
Sure. Being engaged is so important. For what we know is that students who are involved on campus are more satisfied with their college experience and they are more successful after college. I always say that a USF degree makes you employable, but what you do here makes you promotable. And so it's so important that students you take advantage of all that we have to offer at the university. And the way that they can do that is one, by going on BullSync. That is our platform that has all of the different student organizations on it and a lot of our different events and trainings and all of the different opportunities to get involved. They can also follow our departments on Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter and Reddit and Discord and all of those different places that students find their communities. We often our departments do a lot of work marketing all of the different opportunities to get involved. And then I always encourage new students as they come to campus to get involved with our New Student Connections Office, our PALs, our student leaders, and their RAs are incredibly intelligent and knowledgeable about all of the different opportunities on campus.
Great. And what are some of the ways that students can get involved this fall despite the changes that are happening due to COVID-19?
Sure. So I think it's important for students to understand that campus is going to look different. And for our new students, you won't know anything different. For our returning students, it will definitely feel different. I think it's important to know that we open campus and that we're having face-to-face classes to give students the options of coming to campus, of trying to have some of that college experience. But we have to be honest that it's going to be different. Everyone will be required to have facial coverings when they enter buildings, programs, services, events. The buildings are set up for physical distancing. So I've been walking around the building today and the signs are up. We've moved chairs. Our lounges are going to be configured differently. And most of our events will be done online and virtually. That with such a large university, our events attract a large number of people, and we don't have the facilities to be able to do that in physical distance ways. But our staff have done a great job of learning how to move their programs and their trainings online. And we had to do that very quickly in the spring. I think that we've been able to perfect it a lot more during the summer, and we have very exciting plans for the fall. So students will be able to find communities virtually. We'll be able to engage in all of those different events and opportunities virtually. Some of the employment opportunities will still be there face-to-face. And all of the services will be available to students either virtually or face-to-face as well. But it will be different, but we will still continue to engage and to have a community, and we will find ways to continue to honor our traditions and our community in different ways. So it's a great opportunity for us all to be creative. What we have learned is that students are very comfortable engaging virtually and in the online environment. And sometimes it's easier. You don't have to juggle running across campus to different events or dealing with parking or dealing with, running around to different places. It's all right there on your computer, and you can take advantage as you want to. We also find that our students are really good at engaging and chatting through the different technology virtual platforms that we have. So we're actually seeing that some students who may not have gotten involved before are getting more involved in this new environment. So lots of great opportunities for students to continue to engage, to meet new people, and to get involved with all of our different events.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And now we have our first question from a viewer. Will the library study rooms and Marshall Student Center be open?
So the library and the Marshall Student Center will be open. They will have reduced capacities. Actually, our Marshall Student Center, some of our meeting rooms are actually being used as classrooms. And so there won't be as many events that are happening in those buildings, and we have moved some of the seating areas. So we are trying to balance providing that lounge experience, that gathering place for our students, with the physical distancing, which also means that we're creating more opportunities and more spaces around campus. So we are actually providing more outdoor spaces. You will see new picnic tables around campus. And we continue to look at what our capacity is and what our need is going to be. But yes, the library will be open in some capacity, and the Marshall Center will be open with physical distancing, of course.
Wonderful. And we have a comment from a USF alum. Thank you, Dean McDonald, for everything you do.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you. It has been a busy couple months. The whole campus has been pulling together to, when we did our transition to spring, but now totally focused on what our fall experience is going to be and making sure that we're able to meet the needs of students who want to continue online and those that want to continue coming back to campus. And it's really I have to say, it's going to take all of us to make sure that we are able to continue to be open and online. And that means that we all need to follow those CDC guidelines, wearing our face coverings, doing the physical distancing, and of course, sanitizing and washing our hands. But we think that we have some really great plans for opening and for bringing students back and still feeling a part of the USF community and what it means to be a USF Bull.
Absolutely. So we have another question from Connie, a viewer. What kind of social activities will be available? For instance, movies outside, would that still be a possibility? That's a good question.
It is a good question, and we are still working through all of that. We are creating a template and guidelines for our student organizations and our departments to have their events approved to make sure that we are taking advantage of all of the health and safety guidelines, but also all of our spacing. So I hope that is one of the ones we could do because it is outside. It makes it a little easier. Movies on the lawn is a really important tradition at USF, but it's also Florida, and we have to remember that we have to be nimble and flexible, that it may be too hot or it may be raining or we may have a storm. And so that's some of the challenges we're facing with the planning is it's not easy to move everything outdoors, even though outdoors we know it provides us more opportunities. But in Florida, that becomes a little bit more difficult, but we're going to try to do as many of those events as we can.
Wonderful. And the other question that I have for you is, what can you say as a few words of encouragement or advice for our incoming students as we head into this semester?
Well, I think it's my advice always for students is to come in with an open mind. And that's even more this year, an open mind, a positive attitude, and a sense of responsibility to each other. And I think that that's going to be incredibly important as we come into the fall. As you think about your engagement and your involvement opportunities, one of the challenges is we have so many that it can sometimes be overwhelming. And so I encourage students to start planning early. Look now online at BullSync, look at the different organizations, and think about developing a plan for your involvement goals, because it is surprising how quickly these next 4 years go. And you think you have all the time in the world, and 4 years goes very quickly. So I encourage students to get involved quickly. Some students will try to wait and want to focus on their academics and make sure that they have a handle on that. But I say that will lead to less satisfaction with your experience at the college. So you want to get involved in at least one or two things very quickly. Don't get over involved. That's the other end of the continuum. Know who you want to meet. Do you want to meet people that are like you? Do you want to meet people that are different than you? Do you want to meet alumni or people in your field? Do you want to continue some of those hobbies and passion areas and interests that you had before? We probably have that here at the university. Was there something that you didn't get to do in high school because your high school didn't offer it? I am sure with over 600 student organizations, we have it here, but it's also very easy to start a new student organization. So I think that starting to ask yourself some of those questions will help you narrow down what types of involvement opportunities you're looking for. And then, and come, like I said, with an open mind, wanting to meet new people. We can still do that physically distanced. And I think that if we all work together in making this a great opportunity, that I think it's going to be a really great fall.
I agree. Thank you so much for that. Those are all the questions that I have for you this evening, so I want to thank you again so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Absolutely. I am so excited about fall. I'm so excited to meet all of you. I hope that when you see me around campus, you'll introduce yourself. We won't hug, but we'll give each other a nice little go Bulls. And can't wait to meet everybody.
Great. Well, thank you again. Have a great night.
You too.
So it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more USF Housing Live right after this.
Hi, I'm Ethan, and this is Ethan on the Street. I'm Ethan, and I'm here with
Hunter, Rachel, Monique,
Amanda,
and Pierce.
We're here on Ethan on the Street, and today they're going to interview me.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Well, that just makes this all harder.
What do you study here at USF?
I'm a communication major. Yeah, what do you study?
Pre-nursing?
Pre-nursing.
Yeah. Ask her a question. Oh gosh, I don't know.
They don't know. So, Monique, how are you today?
I just finished genetics test. A genetics.
So you're great.
Yes, it's out of my way. Yes.
Good.
So, what's your job like in housing?
It's a great job. I'm a PR assistant with housing.
I don't know what that is.
Now, with a genetics test, how relevant is that to your major?
Not related at all because I'm chemistry.
A public relations assistant.
So what do you do?
I do public relations.
What is your favorite thing about USF?
I love the bull spirit and the diversity on campus. We have students representing over 140 different countries. It's crazy, right? Also housing, because I work here.
What are you doing this for today? What are you trying to teach everybody?
What am I trying to teach everybody?
Yes. We're making this video for a reason, right?
Oh, no.
No?
No.
What job do you hope to obtain with your degree?
I don't want to have a job. Do you have any playlist recommendations?
So I like to listen to R&B. So like while I'll be doing my homework, I'll be like blasting music and like singing along. So I love R&B personally.
That's awesome. That's a really good recommendation. I'm just kidding. I do want to have a job. I definitely want to work one day. I just want to be a job person. I listen to primarily just the Lazy Town theme song, and that's it. That's the only thing I listen to whenever I study, just on repeat. Why is it that USF Bulls, the students here at USF, are so honest?
I feel like it's going to be a pun about bulls, but I can't think of any bull words.
Because they know bull when they see it.
What is your favorite part about working for housing?
This show. It's this show. This is my favorite part. Go Bulls!
Welcome back. I'm Julia O'Hara, and if you're just now joining us, this is USF Housing Live, and we're here to help you prepare to live the Bulls life at USF. Ask us your questions in the comments, and we will answer you live on the show. Our second guest this evening is the Director for the Center for Student Involvement, Dr. Monica Lee Miranda. Welcome, Dr. Miranda. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Great, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we have a lot of questions for you, so we're going to jump right in, okay?
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's start with telling the audience who you are and what you do here at USF.
Well, as you mentioned, I do serve as the director for the Center for Student Involvement, or affectionately known as CSI. I actually celebrated the start of my 8th year here just about 2 weeks ago. And I basically in this role have the honor and privilege to lead a phenomenal team of professionals, graduate advisors, student leader staff in the creation and development of general involvement initiatives, fraternity sorority life programs, and general activities and programs for students that are generally created by students for students.
Great. And I know that you just mentioned a couple of different areas within CSI. So what's the common goal of all of these different areas under Center for Student Involvement?
Well, what we want is for students to get involved, and that involvement to help develop them, which will then lead to them being successful as students. Also, for them to have transformational experiences as a part of this involvement, right? We want to make sure that they are connecting, that they are learning, that they are finding their passions, pursuing their passions in opportunities that will really lead them to their own development, their success. And then we want these involvement opportunities to foster USF pride. We want them to really have the opportunity to become global leaders. And we want what we do on a regular day-to-day basis to help students to be holistically developed, right? We don't want them to just stay in the classroom. We want them to go to class, and we want them to be in class and focus on their academics. But with so much time outside of the classroom, we want to make sure that they are involved and engaged in activities that will help. That's why we call it co-curricular involvement, right? So it's aligned with the curriculum, and it also is a part of their whole student experience.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And how does a student go about getting engaged with CSI and the different resources that it has to offer?
Well, it's a little different right now, but if we were in a normal space and we were all on campus, our offices are in the Marshall Student Center on the second floor of the Marshall Student Center. We have 2 spaces right in the Student Life Tower, so people can just walk on in and come in. They'll see lots of program flyers and information about our programs, and then they can also request to speak with an involvement consultant who can help them and help guide them in finding what ways can they be involved based on what their interests are. Now that we're in a remote space, the best way to get to know us, the best way to engage with us is on our social media platforms, on our website, to be connected to some of the programming that we do and find out about some of the opportunities to engage with us. So our platforms are pretty easy. Get Involved USF. So anything at Get Involved USF on any social media, they'll probably find us. And then we also have at USF Greeks, which is also another platform to look at. But really, I think the Get Involved USF, if they focus on that, that will provide them with a connection not only to our office and how to connect with CSI, but also how to connect with involvement opportunities in general. Because one of our responsibilities as an area is also to make sure that we are promoting all involvement opportunities across campus through our center.
Perfect. And I have a couple of questions from the audience that I'm going to jump into now. One question is from Jamie. Will clubs like Running Club happen? Outdoors, non-contact, and who should we contact to get more information about this?
The running clubs, I would think that actually is out of campus rec, so campus recreation, and there's a club sports area within the campus recreation area. So I think that would be where you should contact to find out about the running club specifically.
Great. And another question is from Stephanie. Will it be possible for us students to learn more about the clubs and fraternities while on campus with the social distancing? That's a great question that we'll get to a little bit later too, but if you want to touch on that now?
Sure. There are definitely going to be opportunities to find out information about student organizations. The Center for Leadership and Civic Engagement actually oversees student organizations. So check that website out and get more information on what student organizations are doing. For fraternities and sororities, all of the recruitment processes are going to be virtual. So there definitely will still be opportunities to engage with fraternities, sororities, their programming, attend some of the programming that they provide to the general student body on campus, or as we are now in a virtual format.
Great, thank you. So the next question I have is how will a student be able to stay involved with the campus community during the pandemic? So you talked a little bit about the virtual setting. Can you talk more about the different opportunities that'll present themselves in a virtual way now?
Absolutely. I'll tell you, I have been so impressed with even the students in our office and so many offices across campus are truly maximizing their social media. They're maximizing all these different virtual platforms to engage students. And there are lots of different ways to stay involved on a virtual platform. So we've got trivia nights. I know for CSI, we've been using our Insta Live to do some open mic nights to showcase the talent that we have across campus, because we definitely have a lot of student talent that we like to showcase. The Office of Multicultural Affairs was doing Summer OMA, which was filled with various mixers that students can choose from to attend. They were very focused on identity. We actually, this Friday, is a great opportunity to learn about some of the things that we're going to be doing in the campus activities with the Campus Activities Board, because there's a Flash Forward Fridays. New Student Connections has been hosting this. And so this Friday at 3 p.m. on Microsoft Teams, if you go to USF_NSC for New Student Connections, you can find the link on their Instagram, and that will get you to a Bullsync form that you can sign up. You will need a USF account to do that. But that Flash Forward Fridays at 3 p.m. this particular Friday, the Campus Activities Board will be there. Some of the executive officers will talk about some of the programs that students can attend. There's also, we have a virtual game show happening on July 30th at 5 p.m. And that's going to be done through a virtual platform called Twitch, which is a free platform. Anybody can get it. You can either do it online or through an app. And so if you sign up for the virtual game show, that is an opportunity as well. There are conversations that are happening. Even the counseling center is getting onto virtual platforms. With a lot of what's going on in the country, people have and want some time to be able to talk about it. So the counseling center is actually doing some virtual conversations, having some deep conversations. We actually partnered with them, and the fraternity sorority community did a series for a week on conversations about race in fraternities and sororities. So there are a whole host of opportunities for students to still be engaged in activities and programs that are occurring and conversations that are occurring, all on a virtual platform. And as I mentioned, the fraternity sorority recruitment experience is going to be virtual. We have convocations. So for anyone who's interested in culturally based fraternities and sororities that are within our Multicultural Greek Council or our National Panhellenic Council, the convocation is still happening. That's on August 25th at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. There's 2 different sessions. We also are excited that we're going to be able to continue to do our Patio Tuesdays. So the students actually just started their training our student leader staff started their training on Monday, and they've already confirmed that they want to figure out how to make sure Patio Tuesdays still happen. That happens the first Tuesday of every month between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Not sure that we'll keep the same time frame. We might send out a survey to students, so make sure that as a student you submit that survey. But either way, we are going to do first Tuesdays of every month, Patio Tuesdays. And Patio Tuesdays is a great opportunity for students because it generally is a monthly involvement fair of sorts. And so you'll have student organizations at Patio Tuesday, and you'll also get to know and meet offices and centers on campus that provide services and resources and activities and programs for students. So look out for Patio Tuesday. I think that will be really, really helpful. And again, social media, get involved. USF is going to be a great place to find that because we not only promote CSI programs, but we also promote what's happening across campus in various offices. And we've also been promoting some of the events that are happening because we're one USF, so our partners over in Sarasota, Manatee, as well as St. Pete.
That's great. I love all those different events that you just named off too. So for a viewer that wants to see maybe a list of everything going on, do you think social media is the best place for them to go, and specifically CSIs, to get a list of all the different things that are going to be coming up this fall?
Well, I think social media is a great opportunity. There is a calendar on the USF website. If you go to the front page of USF, there's a calendar that kind of cycles. And so when organizations or offices are promoting that, if they submit that, it'll be on there. I do think, though, that social media is going to be a much better location because some of this virtual programming, because it's virtual, it's actually easier sometimes to just come up with something really fast and just promote it and put it out there and make it happen. So it may not necessarily get on the calendar fast enough. So social media is really, I think, going to be the best place to do it. New Student Connections is a really good opportunity and a good option because they are really focused on promoting programs, particularly for incoming students. And then our Get Involved at USF, again, we're promoting a lot of things on our social media pages. And then any other offices or specific areas that students are interested in, finding their social media pages will also be very helpful.
Absolutely. A great time to get connected on social media is right now. So we have a question from a viewer, Lisa, who maybe didn't hear this in the beginning when we mentioned CSI. She's asking what that stands for. So that's Center for Student Involvement when we mention CSI.
Yes.
The next question that I have for you is from Kirsten. Will there still be on-campus jobs for students, and how do they find out about those?
So my understanding is that there still will be. I know we got a ton of them. So the Career Services Office is going to be a student's best bet for finding out what's happening on campus, across campus, who's hiring. But I know that we want to continue to hire students, and I say we, global we at USF. And I know our office, as I said, our student leader staff, they are paid employees. We employ about 30 students. And they just started working on Monday. We had the execs, we had 4 of the students come in on the 15th, and the rest of the team started this past Monday. So lots of offices employ students. It is really it's a hope of many of the offices on campus that students will want to work on campus versus off campus. And so even in a remote world, there's opportunities to continue to do work as a student for a department or a different area on campus because activities and programs are still happening. We still need to make sure that students are engaged. And with 70% of the time spent outside of the classroom, we've got to fill it with some great opportunities for students to learn and continue to grow and develop so that they can be successful across campus. So again, Career Center is going to be the best bet, but if you're looking for a particular area, particular office, maybe you want to do research, maybe you want to work in the residential halls or even in the Career Center, lots of different offices will be hiring.
Absolutely. I know the same goes for our office as well. We're going to be open. The housing office will be open this fall. The residence halls will be open, so there will be opportunities for students along with that.
And I think students also should know that many of the student leader positions are also paid, right? Student government officers, some of them get paid. Our staff get paid. So there's lots of different opportunities there too.
Absolutely. That's a great point. So we talked a little bit about this, but let's dive into fraternity and sorority life at USF. Can you tell us about what that's going to look like this fall?
Yes, so fraternity and sorority life, we have about 50 chapters. We have been around since 1966 in the Tampa Bay community. And it really, the membership of these 50 organizations really reflect the diversity across campus. Which each of chapter embracing 4 core values, which are integrity, learning, leadership, and service. And so this fall, they're going to be doing their programming virtually for the most part at this point. And that includes getting to bring in new members into their organizations and recruitment. And so all of the organizations, all of the different councils will be doing virtual recruitment. If you're interested in the Pan-Hellenic Association or the Interfraternity Council, those 2 councils do their recruitment collectively. If anybody's interested in the Multicultural Greek Council or the National Pan-Hellenic Council, they host a collective event called Convocation, and students will have to attend Convocation in order to become a member of any of those organizations. You can't become a member without having attended a Convocation. So on August 25th, we actually provide 2 sessions. That's going to be virtual as well. So you can join in on the Convocation from the comfort of your own home. That's on August 25th at 8 p.m. or at 9 p.m. And again, that's for any persons who are interested in joining an MGC, a Multicultural Greek Council, or NPHC, National Pan-Hellenic Council chapter. You have to go through Convocation. And so things are still going to be happening. The fraternity sorority community partners with our Office of Multicultural Affairs and does a Welcome Back Jam during Week of Welcome, and that's still happening. working on that and figuring out how that's going to happen virtually so we can welcome students. And that's a great opportunity to get to know some of the organizations, see some performances from organizations. And again, that will also be on a virtual platform.
Okay, thank you. And what can you tell us about student organizations? We talked with Dean McDonald earlier, and she mentioned that there are more than 600 student organizations. Is that correct?
That is correct. Actually, I think we're pushing about 700. So there's a lot of them. And as I mentioned earlier, the Center for Leadership and Civic Engagement is the center that oversees all the student organizations. And they have a great group of what's called lead fellows. And these lead fellows provide workshops for these student organizations to help them continue to develop. And if for some reason you don't find, I mean, I don't know how you're not going to find a group that you can be interested in with so many groups. But if for some reason you don't find the organization that you're looking for, you can gather 9 more of your friends, get a group of 10 people, find a faculty or staff member to sponsor y'all, and you can create an organization. But again, I mean, y'all, we even have a chocolatiers club where they sit around and eat chocolate. I love that. I gotta go to that.
Yeah, sign me up for that.
Right. But when I tell you there are so many different opportunities and so many different organizations, I don't see how someone can't find what they're looking for. But if you don't, there's still an opportunity to start a new one.
Great. Yeah. I mean, hey, if you happen to have that specific interest and can find 9 more people, why not? Mm-hmm. So my next question is about balance. What is your advice for students to balance schoolwork and extracurricular activities while they're in college?
Well, and what's interesting about this, we do like to qualify it as co-curricular activities. And that's because we want them to align with what they're learning in the classroom. And it can happen that way. So that way you're enhancing your experience, you're not overwhelming your experience, right? And so when you think about it, as I said earlier, it's about 70% of a student's time is going to be spent outside of the classroom. Y'all, that's a lot of time. So you want to use it wisely. You want to make sure that you're carving out the time to study, always studying first. But then with that is, how are you utilizing some of the things that you're learning in the classroom? How can you apply that outside of the classroom, right? And so you balance your time in finding something that might fit with your academic work, and more directly with your academic work. There are student organizations that are academically focused and directly aligned. Like if you're a biology major, you might want to join the biology club, right? If you're a political science major, you might want to join the political science club, or a club that is related to the party that you are aligned with. There's lots of different opportunities. If you want to really focus on research and that's your interest, we want you then to get involved in our Office of Undergraduate Research, and that's your co-curricular experience, but it's still very tied to your academic experience. So really, it's about making an opportunity for yourself to receive and to learn some skills that careers will need, that you'll need in your careers, right? So the way we look at it is there's 4 stages for involvement for students. We want students to explore, we want them to then connect, then they're participating, and then they're going to be leading. And so explore, connect, participate, lead. If a student looks at that and sees that as their journey and their pathway to continue to be involved, then they're balancing the steps to go through that, right? So you're starting off with a little less time, you're just exploring, you're not really getting into anything. So as you're getting your classes together, as you're getting acclimated to the institution, you're going to start exploring what you're interested in, but not necessarily getting right into it. Then you'll start connecting with some folks, and then those friends that you meet and the people that you connect with might make you more interested in actually participating in a student organization. And so as you're getting your academics really straight and together, then you have a little bit more time and you can expand on your participation. And then maybe around your junior, senior year is when, okay, you have really been able to take care of your academics. You've been able to figure out how you're studying and what your study skills are so that you can make more time to potentially lead an organization, right? And so really those, in a survey of employers, there are a number of skills that make students really more, and we like to use these terms, marketable and employable, right? And so
you throw that
these
pun in
skills
whenever
are,
you can.
you
you have to.
You wouldn't be USF, you wouldn't be a bull if you don't do that. So it's skills like teamwork, problem solving skills, communication skills. These are all skills that you're learning if you're working in groups, if you're working in a student organization, if you're in a fraternity sorority, if you're helping to plan a program. You have to problem solve because, hey, maybe it's going to be raining and we're doing an outdoor event. So how are you going to problem solve that and figure out what your plan B is? And so a lot of this will be really an opportunity to enhance your curricular experience with that co-curricular experience. And you just have to really figure out how much time that is left for you in your schedule after you finish your homework, after you finish your reports, after you finish all the tasks on that syllabi. What is left over and how are you going to enhance your curricular with a co-curricular experience that will continue to develop you to be successful? The research shows that students who are involved and engaged in something on campus, something that is outside of their academic curriculum, that is co-curricular, are more likely to be successful, more likely to be retained, and more likely to graduate.
That's wonderful. And that's a perfect segue into my final question for you.
Oh.
What long-term opportunities can student involvement lead toward? So exactly what you just said.
Wow, we didn't even plan for that one.
Right?
That was really good. Well, I'll tell you, I would not be in front of you right now, talking to you, presenting with you, and chatting with you about involvement if it wasn't from my co-curricular experiences. I was supposed to be a medical doctor. And I went into college saying, I'm going to go to med school, I'm going to be a psychiatrist, and that is it. Well, I didn't quite do so well in science, but I did really well in being actively engaged in student organizations. And by my junior year, I realized, wait a minute, I love this. I love working and understanding student organizations, leading student organizations, putting programs on. And I realized that, wait a minute, this is actually a career. It's called higher education. It's called student affairs, and I can do this work for a living. And so sometimes that's what happens. You get into a co-curricular experience and you realize, oh my goodness, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I know one of the greatest examples I have of a student that I worked with that worked in CSI, she was the executive director for our university lecture series. And she was in that role for 2 years as a student. And she currently works for one of the agencies that she used to call in order to get speakers to come to campus. So as a student, she was working with this agency, making those phone calls to this vendor and saying, hey, we want a speaker. And now she's the person that our students are calling to find a speaker to come to campus. And so really, these organizations, and when you're pursuing your passions and you're finding out what you love to do, it really gives you an opportunity to find what you want to actually do for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And I know USF is probably very grateful for the path you've taken, and thank you so much for all the opportunities that you provide to students through your role. And going into this fall, I know there are a lot of changes, but being able to provide those all virtually is going to be definitely something we strive for.
Yeah, I'm super proud and super impressed with the staff team, their creativity. The students were also doing DIY projects on Instagram and doing Instagram lives and DIYs, like meaning do-it-yourself projects, and teaching some things that they like to do. It really does challenge your creativity and your creative lens. But our students are truly up to the challenge. A lot of departments and centers across campus have really taken it upon themselves to challenge themselves, to be creative, to think a little bit outside of the box so that we can continue to engage students in the life of campus we just might have to do that virtually for a little bit longer.
Yep, you're right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Miranda, for taking the time to speak with us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. I love this. Welcome to all new students and welcome back to those returning students. I look forward to getting to know more of you over the course of the years that you have here at USF. And if there's anything that any one of us on the Center for Student Involvement team can do to help you, again, we've got those involvement consultants, so feel free to request that. Get involved at usf.edu. Just shoot the email, and we'll get somebody to work with you to figure out how best you can engage on campus.
Great. Thank you. And have a great night, Dr. Miranda. We appreciate you.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Before we wrap up, I would like to remind incoming residents that the move-in sign-up form is now live in the housing portal. Students can schedule a move-in appointment between August 16th and August 23rd. Move-in information is listed on our website at usf.edu/housing. If you have more questions about living on campus at USF, please email us at housing@usf.edu. And Student Health Services shared an update with residents today via email regarding COVID-19 testing prior to arrival to campus. If you have questions regarding this update, please contact Student Health Services, who is managing the process. Their website is usf.edu/shs. We hope you join us for the next episode of Housing Live on Wednesday, July 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern. We will be speaking with a representative from financial aid and residential education. You can watch on our Facebook or YouTube page, the USF Class of 2024 Facebook group, or the USF Parent and Family Engagement Facebook page. USF Housing Live is produced by Housing and Residential Education at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Our motto is best place to live, best place to work, and best place to learn. Thank you to tonight's guests, Dr. Danielle McDonald and Dr. Monica Lee Miranda, for joining me this evening. Thank you to our production crew, to you, our viewers, and of course, there's always just one last thing. Go Bulls! Good night, everyone.